Welcome to STARCARD Podcast. Here at STARCARD Podcast, we get a glimpse at the age of Aquarius ahead of us. We also examine the worlds of education and workplace ethics. My name is Breakaway Ray. I like talking about the breakaway civilizations because we're breaking out of the one we're in now. You've tuned in to a live tarot throw. Today is Friday, October 3rd, 2025. I've got 4 cards for you on your Friday. You get 2 right now and 2 for later. Let's go to the tarot cam. I want to say good morning to everyone tuning in, whether you're watching live or catching the recording. These 4 cards are for you. We've got 2 for now and 2 for later. Here we go. Good morning to the tarot world and the persona of the star card, always bringing us helpful, constructive, fun messages, being inspirational, having hope. Thank you, tarot world. We gratefully accept 4 cards from you right now, and we'll take 2 for now and 2 for later, please. Thank you, tarot world, for all the viewers of this video. Well, all right, here we go. This is for entertainment purposes only. Here we go with your 4 cards. First up, yay, it's the Page of Pentacles. Let's read what it says right on the card. Hey, good morning, Johnny. Good to see you in the chat. Thank you very much. Here is the Page of Pentacles. Manifestation, financial opportunity, skill development, ambition, desire, and diligence. You should be proud of what you accomplished this week at work. And now you have some free time to collect yourself and improve things and get things better for next time around, for the next go. Make it easier for yourself. Find that path of grace and ease. You're already doing a good job. You know, work smarter, not harder. Yay. Where we left off yesterday, everybody. Here comes the Ace of Pentacles. That's a nice message from the spirit world to put the Page of Pentacles and the Ace of Pentacles together there, reminding us that, you know, what we have is a gift from God. Let's be grateful and make the best we can out of it. The Ace of Pentacles reads, abundance, manifestation, opportunity, new career or financial opportunity, new venture, prosperity. You worked hard for what you earned this week. Way to go. And now here's 2 cards for later. There we go. Here's 2 cards for later, everybody. So save these for later when you need them or when you're spiritually hungry. That's when you want these cards. Here they come. Oh, let's have 2 aces together. It's the Ace of Swords. Mental clarity, breakthroughs, new ideas, success, sharp mind. Well, I know that when we're all in repose, that's when things clarify and we can have our little epiphanies that make things easier to understand. And that's what people tend to do when they have a weekend. If you have a weekend, I know a lot of people have irregular schedules. A lot of us work every day. Some of us have 2 jobs. Nevertheless, when you get your chance for repose, you're going to have a breakthrough. You know, just remember to relax, regather yourself, recollect yourself, and then, bam, as much as you can imagine. So I know I threw the 8 of Swords, and if you're new here, I want to share with you that the 8 of Swords tells me as much as you can imagine. You know, if you can imagine things that are not great, you're probably going to find things that are not great. And if you imagine things can be pretty good, you're going to be finding the silver lining in everything. So the message for later is have your breakthrough as much as you can imagine. You know, especially a mental breakthrough is what they're talking about here. Are you getting in contact with your spirit world around you? That's a breakthrough, and you can have it and build upon it as much as you can imagine. Hey, I'm having fun throwing tarot cards every time I do it. Thank you very much, Tarot World. What a wonderful message. What a great set of cards for everyone catching this video. I appreciate the Tarot World's input. Obviously, I'm not doing this by myself, right, everybody? Let me give these a toss and tell you what's going on. Here we go. All right, so today we're going to return to the TAROTPEDIA, and we're going to meet someone named Salvador Dali. He's from a place called Cadaqués, which is in the Barcelona area of Spain, the Catalonia region. So we're going to take a look at Salvador Dali, and then we're also going to look we're going to take a surreal turn and look at something called the Citizens United decision from 2010, which, to sum up very quickly, says corporations are people. If you've been watching any STARCARD podcasts, you probably know where I'm going with this. But anyway, after we go through that presentation, that's when I'll be inviting you to let me know if you want a tarot reading. You could do that right now in the chat. Just type in all capital letters, tarot, please. And then it makes it easy for me to look through the chat and find out who wants a reading for the second part of the show. And you could also hit the top fans button. If you hit the top fans button, I'm going to automatically assume you want a reading. I want to thank everyone for inviting me to read. I have a lot of fun doing it. I just take the cards and the connotations and meanings that go with them, and I look at the pictures, and I try to tell a story. And a lot of times, somehow, it helps people. They pick up the flow of the story, of the energy in their own lives. And somehow it helps them out because, again, everything in STARCARD podcast is all about being inspired and having hope, which reminds me, I'm going to go ahead and read right out of the book again about, what it says about the star card. It's a good message. Here we go. The star card. The star represents hope, faith, and renewal. It symbolizes a calming spirituality and purpose, bringing rejuvenation and a sense of good fortune. This card is a positive omen, indicating a period of hope and spiritual refreshment. That's just what we need as we just pull out of the 20th century and we get ready for the age of Aquarius, which is just starting. So anyway, I'm going to go back down to the tarot cam now, and I'm going to start by telling you about a school of art called Dadaism. D-A-D-A, Dadaism. And you may realize that the word da means yes in Russian. Of course, in the English-speaking world, especially here in the United States, dada is what a baby says, whether they're talking about dad or just making noises, right? So Dadaism is what's on deck. Let's go down to the tarot cam and check out this cool book. So I bought this book, and I'm not saying it was disappointing, but there's not a lot of art in this book. But it does tell about the Dadaist world. So the Dadaists were, I want to say, right around the turn of the 20th century, probably in the late 1800s and definitely in the early 1900s. And these guys were all about just having fun. I remember one image. I might even have seen it in person because I went to some exhibits when I was younger. There was a stool, and on top of the stool was an upside down unicycle. So you couldn't sit on either one, but it was a nice juxtaposition there. And I want to say that there was a filmmaker that I really enjoyed. I'm not sure if it's the same man I'm thinking of because he was also an artist. A lot of these guys did a lot of different things. But there's a guy named Man Ray, M-A-N-R-A-Y. I'm not sharing any of his art this morning, but I just know that it was like a cool thing for me. The guy, he was one of my favorite artists, and he had my name for a last name. So I'm going to show you one thing here in the Dada Almanac, which is a poem, and I believe it was translated, and it's called Countryside. I'm usually not too bad at reading upside down, but because it's so peculiar, I'm going to go ahead and turn it around. I'll read it to you and show it to you again. But you can see this is not your normal poetry coming into the 20th century here. It reminds me of E.E. Cummings, who didn't know how to capitalize. So you take your words and you make an image out of it. So this is supposed to be a countryside set of words, images. Let me read to you what it says. In that circle part up there, it says, the moon in which you look at yourself. The moon, oh, that's a picture of the moon. I get it. There's the moon in the sky. Oh, I get what's going on here. Here's a tree. Hey, everybody, here comes a tree. The tree was higher than the mountain, but the mountain was so high that it exceeded the ends of the earth. I'm interrupting this to say how much I'm enjoying this. I see what's going on now. This person painted a landscape literally with the words. This is pretty awesome. Let me go back down here. Okay, so come on, Breakaway Ray, give it to us all. It's called Countryside, and this is from 1917, and it was written in 1917 and intended for Dadaco with a machine drawing by Picabia. That would be another artist named Picabia, and this is by Vincente Huidobro. I'll spell his name for you, Huidobro. Hey, everybody, he's got the word bro at the end of his name. All right, let's check out this bro's poem again. It's called Countryside. In the evening, we shall go for a stroll along parallel paths. The tree was higher than the mountain, but the mountain was so wide that it exceeded the ends of the earth. The moon, in which you look at yourself, the river that flows has no fish. Beware, do not play on the grass, wet paint. A song calls the sheep towards the stable. Okay. So truly, some Dadaism on the fringe of the next school of art called surrealism. Especially when you look down here, it says, beware, do not play on the grass, wet paint, as if the grass had been painted there. Right, there's your moon, in which you look at yourself. There is the river that has no fish. Here's the trees and the mountains. Hey, what a beautiful, wonderful piece of writing. I'm so excited. Nevertheless, I'm going to move on. Next up. Yeah. So a lot of you, I'm sorry, I'm going to start over again. Sometimes I repeat myself without the light on for editing in case I decide to make another video out of it later. So anyway, let me continue. A lot of you know who Salvador Dali is, and I have some notes here to introduce him to you or reintroduce him to you. All right, so after the Dadaists, which was the early 20th century, and contemporaneously with the Impressionists like Cézanne and Monet and Manet. Manet was kind of off in his own little school there, okay? And also contemporaneously with Cubists like Braque and Picasso, right? And throughout the 20th century, with all sorts of developments and innovations in the arts. Well, I'm going to use a colloquialism from here in the United States of America, okay? With all of that going on in the 20th century, okay? Here comes Salvador Dali, who says, hold my beer. This guy did everything, and he was good at it all. So I'm going to come back down here. Let's see, I got a few more notes here. Okay, so before I continue telling you about Salvador Dali, I'm actually going to tell you about a place in Germany, and then we'll talk more about Salvador Dali. It is related. I figured out how to work it with my screen. So give me a second to get my screen up here about what I want to say is in Germany. It's called the Philosophenweg. I didn't say that correctly. The Philosopher's Way. I'm just reading right off. Oh, you know what? I did have it, but I closed the window. So anyway, the Philosopher's Way is certainly near Heidelberg, Germany, right around there where the University of Heidelberg is. And there was a famous philosopher who worked at the university. His name was Hegel, Hegel. Anyway, each day, Mr. Hegel would, travel the Philosopher's Way. It was not a strenuous walk, but it was certainly invigorating. And you escalate an elevation there, and you get to see a lot of stuff. Reminds me of the Page of Wands. Remember that guy that's like standing on the top of the hill? He could see over the pyramids. Okay, so you can imagine that's like an inspiring thing, right? To ascend every morning and look over the river and see all of Heidelberg like that. It's pretty cool. So anyway, moving on, I want to say it's already like 6:30 in the morning, and I've done the same thing. I have a ritual. It used to be, when school got out, I would go climb the hill, but when I didn't have to go to work, I'd get it done in the morning. And that's what I do now. I go up, I do my hike. There's some meditation involved. It's very invigorating, etc., etc. And I come down the hill and I turn on the camera. And now I'm ready to tell you about Salvador Dali, who used to do the same thing. So first, let me read you what it says on the computer about Salvador Dali, and then I'll keep riffing on that. Okay, hang on one second. Salvador Dali, born May 11th, 1904, passed away January 23rd, 1989. All right, he's a contemporary with me and my grandfather. Salvador Domingo Felipe Jacinto Dali, Dali y Domenech, or we'll just call him Salvador Dali. In Spain, you could have a rather long last name. You take on a lot of your ancestors' names and you tack them on there. But anyway, let's go back to Salvador Dali here. He was a Spanish surrealist artist known for his hallucinatory paintings and unique vision. Hallucinatory. He was very much in contact with the spirit world and the subconscious. He was such an expert in the subconscious that other people sought him out to help them with their art, but I'll get to that part. His work explored the human subconscious, juxtaposing and deforming everyday objects in realistic detail within bleak, sunlit landscapes. Dali's art spanned many fields, including painting, sculpture, film, Alfred Hitchcock. He worked with Alfred Hitchcock. Animation. He worked with that famous animator. It's got the mouse and the duck and that goofy dog. Okay, he worked with that guy too. You could look it up. Dali's art spanned many fields, including painting, sculpture, film, animation, fashion, and photography, for sure. He also wrote essays, novels, poetry, fiction, and criticism. I don't think I was aware, as much as I know about this guy, I don't think I was aware he wrote novels, because I think I would have bought them and read them already. But I learned most about him before the days of the internet and buying things online. I guess I'm going to have to go look that up later. So I'm not sharing a screen with you, but you could just type in your computer DALI and click images and see what a striking image he presents. So I'm going to switch windows really quickly. I'm going to take you downstairs again because I got some notes prepared, obviously, right? That's what I'm all about. Hang on. Okay. Salvador Dali is famous for this quote, as far as I know, because I memorized this quote decades ago. Meditation is the amnesia of reality. It means something different to me now than it did way back when, for example, when I really didn't understand what meditation was all about. But I'm trying to catch on now. He did work with Alfred Hitchcock, and as I did say, he did work with that animator. And so let's see what else I've got here about Salvador Dali. I covered those notes. All right. So what I want to tell you about Salvador Dali, while you, why not enjoy this book cover while I tell you? You can see I got some things I want to show you, right? All right. You caught me on if you like Breakaway Ray, you came on the right day. Sweet. Anyway. Salvador Dali was a master of all the different kind of paintings, before he graduated from art school when he was a young man in his 20s. And I'd like to tell you now the story about how his final exam went. He just needed to pass. He just needed to pass this one exam, and he would have his degree and he could go on about his business. But anyway, he couldn't do it because he was. He came off as too arrogant. The story goes like this. He came before all his professors, and his professors started asking him to explain, what he learned, et cetera, And Salvador Dali basically said to them, you know what? I know more about art than all of you guys combined. And then I guess he walked out of the hall, And, for most people, you can only imagine doom and gloom. You're abandoning your training. You spend so many years building relationships with these people and working with them, and you're just walking out the door. But he was Salvador Dali, and he had about 70 more years of fun and exciting artistic passions to develop ahead of him. So that's one story I want to tell you about Salvador Dali. I'm going to come upstairs for this other one. So there's another story about Salvador Dali from when he was young, and that is that he had an older brother who predeceased him. His older brother predeceased him, and he did so as a child himself. So his brother never made it to adulthood, but his brother was gone by the time Salvador was born. I don't know if this was such a good idea, but it worked out for Salvador. Salvador Dali's parents named him Salvador after his deceased brother. Now, remember we were talking about climbing hills, etc., and how peaceful and how you can elevate your consciousness from, looking over the mountaintops and stuff. Well, the Costa Brava is quite remarkable in its geography and landscape. There are a lot of cliffs that overlook the oceans. I know that I just read off the computer that it said something like it looked bleak, but when you're there, it's really very beautiful. And I'm sure Salvador Dali didn't think it was bleak. He loved where he lived out in Caracas. It was very beautiful there. It was not bleak to him. I'm quite sure of that. Nevertheless, he used to climb the mountains, by himself as a kid. And when he would be up there, he would shout his own name, Salvador, which of course refers to Jesus, the Savior. But then it also refers to his older brother, who is in spirit. And Salvador Dali believed he was the reincarnation of his older brother. So this is the third time this week we're talking about metempsychosis here on STARCARD podcast. So I'll repeat for you, Salvador Dali used to climb a hill, look over everything, feel like he's looking down from heaven, shout the name Salvador, and remember that he is the reincarnated spirit of his deceased brother. All right. So now I'd like to share with you some of Salvador's art in that book. There's so many stories about Salvador Dali. Okay, so I want to show you this page. I'm not going to read to you. Is it better with the light on? I think it is. Just want to get the glare out there. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, I get it. All right, so this is not what we think of when we think of Salvador Dali, but we can see that he was a master of other styles. This one over here kind of reminds me of René Magritte. And I'm not sure if I flagged a page, but there seems like there's some René Magritte-esque style in one of the works. Yeah, I think I did flag that page. And over here, this is actually a painting of his father. And look at that. It almost looks like a photograph. And also reminds us of the Dutch masters, with their photograph-like quality of paintings, which would be much earlier. I think that was 1800s, even 1700s. They were doing, well, some people theorize that they were doing it with mirrors and in a camera obscura situation. Nevertheless, here's Salvador Dali, a painting of his dad. It looks a little bit like a photograph, right? Okay. Who's next? Yeah. So I mentioned that he was a master of different styles, and here are two Salvador Dali paintings that use the Impressionist style, and they remind me of Cezanne. This one definitely reminds me of Cezanne because Cezanne painted a mountain down in the south of France in Aix-en-Provence, and this kind of reminds me of that same painting. I don't know if Dali ever saw it, but nevertheless, you could see he's like a master of Impressionism. That's not hard for him to do. Okay, he's already got the vision down. Ooh, so this one it's very cubist looking. It's very cubist looking, but again, this is Salvador Dali. It's not only cubist looking, but it's also, there's like a small school inside cubism around the same time called futurism, which is a cubist way of capturing motion, and that's what this reminds me of. Okay, let's see this. reminds me of Cubism also, but again, it's Salvador Dali. It reminds me of Cubism, and it's got a little Juan Miro, another Spanish painter in there, right? Looks a little like Juan Miro. Okay, he's an expert in many fields, but just wait till we get to the classic Dali stuff, right? All right. I really enjoy this one right here. See the one with the piano there? Now you can't see it, but the little globes are the little, they're little heads of Vladimir Lenin. So let me read to you the title of the painting and show it to you again, because that's definitely something surrealists like to do. And you could tell Dali was doing it every time. They like to have fun. So this is called The Evocation of Lenin. And this is from 1931. So Lenin would already be like becoming the legend that he was, the sanitized, glamorized image. I'm going to try to get that picture to you, that the Soviet Union adopted of him. Anyway, a bunch of little Lenins on the keyboard. There we go. Okay, next up. Oh, okay. I've shared this painting. I'm going to turn off the light. I don't like that glare. There we go. I've shared this painting with my class many times. There. You've seen the one about him. Hey, everybody. I can't tell if we got interrupted. I tried to reconnect. And YouTube shows that the clock is still running. I'm still recording. We're about to throw for Ascending Universal Butterfly. Yes, thank you, Ascending Universal Butterfly. Yay, all right. Hi, Puck Elf. Thanks for joining us. Hey, everybody. I can't wait to see how the recording came out. I guess some parts probably got cut out. Anyway, these are for Ascending Universal Butterfly. Thank you, Tarot World. It was such a wonderful session. And now we're ready for Audience Tarot. Here are cards for our friend Ascending Universal Butterfly. These cards are for Ascending Universal Butterfly. Oh, this one wants to come out too. All right. Hello, Mr. A. Thanks for joining us again. You're awesome. All right, but these are for Ascending Universal Butterfly. Here we go. It's the walk away card. It's the 8 of Cups. You could walk away from something. You don't really need it anymore. It's on to bigger and brighter things. Hey, there's my friend, the Page of Wands, the guy with the perspective over everything. Yeah, stop looking back at those cups. Look forward at all the awesome stuff that's ahead of you and all around you. Uh-oh, then you better watch out because it's the Tower card. So I'm glad that you're being cautious and you're looking around, because either something could be coming down around you. You'll have to watch your step, or it could also mean let's survey all the stuff that we got going on, and maybe we need to reorganize and clean up some stuff. I know at the end of the week, it's a good tradition. I know of some people that do this, where we get home from work on Friday, and Friday night we clean the house, and then for the weekend, we got to clean house, because that's when you want to clean house, right? On the weekend, when you're going to spend all the time there. Anyway, let's move on. The 6 of Wands card is the card of public recognition. Get out, be seen by others, and yeah, go party. Friday night, go rejoin society. 3 of Cups says, let's go celebrate. The 5 of Swords talks about some kind of conflict, winning at all costs. Well, I'm going to say, we're leaving that behind for the moment, because we're focusing on outwardly showing that we're celebrating togetherness. And anyway, maybe when you put these 2 cards together, there's some kind of winner-take-all situation with the 4 of Pentacles related to money or the currency of your desire. Maybe you have to compete for what is yours that you earned, or be wise with your Friday paycheck. I'm thinking of the character Tony from the movie Saturday Night Fever. And then, yeah, check it out. The Nine of Cups, it's a wish come true. Have a good weekend. All right. Thanks, Ascending Universal Butterfly. That's right. Tower card is a positive card. Thank you very much. I'm glad. I think it was all positive. Right on. Next up, it's Gascon Charity. Gascon Charity. Gascon Charity, thanks for that message. And now Gascon Charity is ready for a fun, helpful message from the tarot world. These cards are for Gascon Charity. Gascon Charity. A fun, helpful message for Gascon Charity, please. Thank you. Thanks for the help. These cards for Gascon Charity. Oh, I don't know why I turned it over, but feels good. That was a good card to turn over, Gascon Charity. That was the Nine of Pentacles. Here's some more cards for Gascon Charity. So the Nine of Pentacles talks about the fruits of your labor, Gascon Charity. Again, it feels like a Friday vibe. You saved up, and now you can go enjoy yourself. We all should think long term, of course, and save our money or whatever, and not waste it frivolously. Nevertheless, it's important for everyone to remember to have fun. That's what all the surrealists and the Dadaists and Salvador Dali himself want to keep reminding us. You saved up. Enjoy the fruits of your labor. You work for it. You earned it. Enjoy life on planet Earth while you're here. Okay. The Knight of Wands talks about charging forward energetically, passionate, inspired action, adventure, fearless. The Six of Pentacles talks about giving and taking. And just from my background and experience, I'm sorry, it feels like it's Friday and me and my buddies are going to take a road trip. All right, we're going to do it together. We're going to go have an adventure. We saved up some gas money. Let's go to Santa Barbara this weekend. Woo! Dude, that's awesome. And then the Six of Cups talks about creating memories and nostalgia. Something tells me you're going to have a good time this weekend. Let's keep going, Gascon Charity. Hey, Tarot World's being generous. Here's the Ace of Pentacles. Passing out Aces of Pentacles this week, eh? All right, here's an Ace of Pentacles. Abundance, manifestation, opportunity, new venture. Hey, it's a new opportunity, a new venture to create magic, says the magician. And you know what? With every adventure, we become wiser, says the Nine of Wands. And we should always continue to have adventures. That's how we thrive as humans. That's how we thrive each day. Hey, Gascon Charity, that was a fun read. Thank you very much for inviting me to read. I really appreciate the practice. Next, I got Silent Dreamer. Thank you, Tarot World. You are on fire. Great cards. You're making me look good. You make it very easy for me to get these messages out there. I'm very happy to pass out have a good weekend messages to everybody. This is great fun. I want to remind everyone that a lot of times I put a very detailed description together. Hang on there, Silent Dreamer. A lot of times I put together a very detailed description. And earlier this week, I couldn't remember the name of the tap dancers I was thinking of. And someone reminded me, I think it was Judy, Mrs. NW5, that it was the Nicholas Brothers. I used to show the Nicholas Brothers video to the kids in the class when I was in the classroom. And in case you haven't seen it, you should check it out. So I invite you to go to the links in the description, and I put the Nicholas Brothers towards the top there. If you haven't seen that, it's from the movie Stormy Weather with Calloway. So classic. Anyway, I hope you enjoy it. Let's go back down to Silent Dreamer's message. This message is for Silent Dreamer. I think that's really awesome when anyone like Silent Dreamer catches my video and shows up again. That's awesome. Again, when I want to say thanks to the subscribers. all you subscribers, you really motivate me to come out. You guys want Breakaway Ray? Here you go. And these cards are for Silent Dreamer. These cards are for Silent Dreamer. That was weird. More fun, helpful messages. How about one for Silent Dreamer, please? Here we go. All right. First up, it's the King of Pentacles. We're getting a lot of positive messages here for the weekend. Wealth, business, leadership, security, discipline, abundance, prosperity, generosity. There's a tradition, I know at least among some Native Americans up in the northwest part of the United States, they would have a celebration called a potlatch, where someone would throw a party, and the whole point was to share the wealth. So basically he invites, the whole village to come to the party, and, it's his treat. Drinks are on the house. Here's the 9 of Wands again, which says gearing up for a last stand. Let's see what else it says on here. Courage, persistence, test of faith, resilience, boundaries, last stand. Sorry, this could be coming from my experience, but this could also be somebody who knows that someone else is going to come ask them for a loan. And, you need to have boundaries. We've been through this before. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on to the next card here. The 2 of Pentacles talks about juggling priorities, having more than one priority. So you're gearing up for a last stand. You're going to have persistent things going on. Maybe you're making a choice about buying a new vehicle or something. Okay, and the Wheel of Fortune talks about luck. Luck could be good, luck could be bad. It talks about cycles. The Wheel of Fortune, good luck, karma, life cycles, destiny, turning point, change, inevitable fate, ups and downs, unpredictable. Could we be having a couple of priorities, a couple of things going on, and now there's a turning point where good news, it's the 4 of Wands. How about a homecoming? Celebration, joy, harmony, marriage, home, community. Hey, whatever's on your mind, you're in a good position. It's going to come out. And guess what? It's going to happen soon, says the 8 of Wands. The 8 of Wands talks about travel and flight, but it also talks about, coming really soon. And coming really soon, the 5 of Wands. Let's see what it says here. Competition, rivalry, conflict, disagreements, strife, and tension. Hang on a second. Let me check the reverse. Oh, okay. Avoiding conflict, respecting differences, agreeing to disagree, diversity. So we're going to avoid conflict. We're going to respect each other's boundaries. We're going to take the 5 of Wands and reverse it. All right. I hope that was a fun message for you, Silent Dreamer. I appreciate you inviting me to read. And see, ouch. I'm not sure I see anyone else requesting a reading, and we did go past the hour mark. So I think I'm going to call it. That's okay. I really had a good time today. I'm sorry that some of the message got garbled. I'm going to be bummed when I look at how my internet connection disrupted me from delivering information to you. But wasn't it great to be together? And even if you caught any little tiny bit of what I heard or what I had to say, maybe gave you something to think about today and over the weekend. I might come out over the weekend. Nevertheless, I do try to give you the weekday let's get going shows, right? So I encourage everyone to, have a great weekend, relax, repose, come back reinvigorated. We're having a great October, a great Sci-tober 2025. Thank you, everyone, for your support. I really appreciate it. All right, have a good one. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you haven't seen the Giordano Bruno video yet, it's in the description. I invite you to look at it because it's getting a lot of looks. All right. Bye, everybody.